If your stories aren't landing, it might not be the story, it might be the edit. I interviewed 4 master storytellers, and they shared with me their 4 editing rules that you can use right now, whether you are editing words on a paper or editing a video in Premiere. God bless Premiere. First up, we have Neil Ford. He's the founder of Storyfire and an award-winning marketer. And he said that editing begins long before you ever hit record.
You got to know exactly the word choices you're going to use. There's a benefit, by
Yeah.
the way, to writing it down. You tend not to repeat yourself. In one
Yeah.
case, you'll describe something as a person was angry, and in the next iteration, you'll say they were vibrating with frustration. And then the next
Yeah.
time you talk about it, they'll say, I think they literally ground their teeth down. So you can do that when you write it down. You can choose words that become vivid and non-repetitive. And there's another secret to that, by the way. If you do write it down
What?
and you are colorful with your language, it gives people, you get more credit for intelligence than you would have gotten otherwise, because it makes it seem like your vocabulary is larger because you just happen to have the perfect word at your elbow. No, I looked it up. I was looking for synonyms for, like, you think kerfuffle just came out of my mouth?
You'll save a lot of time if you write things down first before hitting record. Trust me. Next up, we have Tony Talks. He is a director and one of the biggest comedic voices online. And he does script everything, but then rediscovers something magical in the edit.
Like anybody could learn how to edit videos. I think it's just you go through hurdles of like anytime you learn something new and it's too hard, a lot of people just give up. But
Preach.
if you want
Preach.
to do it,
Yeah.
then it's something that, you stick around and learn. I was crying several days when I didn't, like, for example, I edit with Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
When I first bought that, I felt like it was a complete waste of money. And I was like, oh my gosh, like,
Really?
how
How
am I
come?
going to, because it was so hard. I was editing on my phone, doing everything on my phone. But I wanted to evolve and I wanted people to like started to see me like, more important. So I was like, let me go ahead and upgrade everything. And when I did that, it was very hard for me in the beginning, but then I wanted to do it. So I wanted to learn it. So those nights I was crying, I was like, all right, wipe the tears and keep moving forward. And I'm so glad I did, because now I can easily just open it up and create pretty much anything.
This isn't to knock people who outsource editing, because I think sometimes people just don't have that desire. But I always really love connecting with folks who do their own editing and figure it out. Because I feel like that is so much of the storytelling process is the edit.
Yeah.
Like figuring out what it is in the editing room. And if you don't mind me getting like super weedy, geeky,
I am such an
nerdy
open,
with
like
it,
everything.
just a second.
Yeah.
I just think you're brilliant at the production side to things, and I'm curious, just even since the last time we talked, I mean, the way your content's evolved is nuts. What are like the nuances of things you're looking for in the editing room, and like how do you decide what you're keeping, what you're not, or do you have a pretty easy edit because you stick to a script? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I am the first to say my videos never turn out how I wrote them.
Really?
Yeah, so all of my videos are scripted. Doesn't matter which, like, they're all scripted.
Like the cut, like the scene too, like the angles, or do you do
No,
that
no. I
instinctually?
I don't do that. So what's scripted is just the lines.
Okay.
And when I start editing it, I always find something that was not written in there that I think would be hilarious. So I'll add, just something that comes to mind, but it's never how I wrote it. And I guess to answer your question, I don't know. I guess I feel it. Like I see something and I'm like, okay, this works. Or I see something, I'm like, okay, this doesn't work. I do the same take like 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5, 6 times. And then I go through each one and pick the one that works.
So we have to be open to changing things in the editing room. Because sometimes you see the story for the first time. Up next is Matthew Dix. He is the author of Storyworthy, one of my favorite storytelling books, and a multiple time, I have no idea how many, Moss Story Grand Slam champions. I mean, this dude's wild. And his rule, if a detail does not serve the story, well, cut it down until it hurts, y'all. Cut it down until it hurts.
What do you ask yourself as far as the editing process goes about whether a detail is important or not to leave something in?
Well, if it doesn't serve the story, it goes all the time. And I try to avoid adjectives at all costs. So I prefer to rely on good hard nouns that my audience can imagine. So if I am standing in a kitchen, the only word I'm going to use is kitchen unless something in the kitchen is relevant to my story. Because if I say kitchen, you're going to put me probably in your kitchen or your parents'
Yep.
kitchen or a kitchen you see on TV. And you can see that kitchen with enormous clarity. Whereas if I tried to assemble a kitchen for you, telling you where all the appliances and the table were, then you wouldn't see it with very great clarity, and I'd steal all that bandwidth from you. You'd have to like keep track of the architecture of the kitchen I have just created. Instead, I just want to use your kitchen because that one's good enough for me. Unless I need the magnets on the refrigerator to be a particular way, and if they do, I'll say that. But otherwise, I'll just say kitchen, and I know that you will visualize it perfectly. So I always believe that the power of your imagination is more powerful than any collection of words that I can assemble. So if the detail is not important to the story, it goes away. And instead, I give the audience a noun that I know they can imagine on their own.
Next up, we have Cindy Zaleski, the founder of Storycraft, and she's a former journalist with over 15 years of storytelling experience. And her point? Well, it's 1 point, just one.
Like the number one killer of stories is too much context, putting in too many details. So, and it goes both ways. Like it's also people don't put in enough detail and people put in too much detail, but most people are putting in too much detail. They're rambling a little bit. So like, how do we rein that in? And that's like starting with the action point. So if you start, and you do this really well in your reels about like the moment like something interesting happens, like starting there, and that could help you remove some of the details, and then remembering like some of the details that you put in, like they all go towards like they're someone getting to know you better.
What are you asking yourself when you're about to edit something?
Oh, the two things that I always say, like when you're going to edit a story, like 1 point per story, like you have a message. So did I make my message clear? And how do I want people to feel when I'm reading this? Like
so
when they read this, are they getting the point, and are they feeling the way that I want them to feel? And if those two things are really clear, then I know it's going to be a good story.
So here's the cold hard truth. If editing feels chaotic, it's because the input originally was not clear enough. Know your point and the editing becomes so much easier. If you want to go deeper into this, make sure you connect with me over on Substack, where this week we are talking all things editing. That's linked down below. Love you in your corner. Don't let the editing people get you down.